Let's sync.
All right. Hi, I'm BethCon 2. I am the off-tank, sometimes support flex for the Holy Jalapenos, and the GM.
Hello, I'm Johnny Robot. I'm DPS on Jalapenos.
It's Johnny Rocket, don't let.
Yeah, Johnny Rocket.
The announcers like to call me Johnny Rocket, yes.
I'm Meebles, and I mostly play support with a little bit of main tank.
I'm Needle. I suck at this game.
Chim, that's you.
All right, he's not here.
Oh my goodness, classic. I'm Spooderman. I'm the coachy boy.
Oh. The Mallard. I'm primarily hit scan DPS and the team captain.
I'm Torb only. I play main tank. Smile. It's fun.
So majestical.
Yeah, the little wind chimes in the background.
Classic.
I think that's my mother's KTV.
Well,
what's the question?
Just open mic.
I strongly dislike the meta.
I don't think the meta is that bad. We've been playing it a little bit, but if it's not working, we don't force it because we don't want to get boomed at playing something we're not comfortable at. We've noticed a lot of teams have been picking up the meta, but not being run completely perfectly yet. So we can still take advantage of that until they get really good at it. I think is mostly what we've been looking at as far as like strategies with that.
In Harmony tier, I'd say Vitamin C is the only one who's really got a handle on the meta. And as the coach, I make them play double shield sometimes, but I mean it's a fun league. Like there's no prize or anything, so
Community.
Whatever. If I force you guys to play double shield and you don't have fun, then what's the point at that point?
Yeah, and that was kind of part of the reason that Mallard and I got together and formed this team too, is we were really looking for a place where we could like still do our darndest to try to win, obviously, but we wanted a place where we were going to have fun and enjoy playing with our teammates, and I think we've really been able to do that.
Well,
all right.
This actually brings me up one of the scrims we had. I remember we were all trying to fit the meta so hard, and I remember, and then like in between one of our team fights, Spoods is just like, "Is anybody having fun?" And we're like, "No." And he was just like, "All right, go do what you want to do this next match. I don't care." And I just remember, it's just kind of like, I think that's like the idea of this team is
like Doom's actually meta. You gotta have fun playing your main hero.
Well, I had fun, but when he asked me that, I was like on some random hero that I didn't want to be on, and I think as a whole, the team wasn't having fun.
Well, I definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
Still not.
I'm still not. Yeah.
I pretty much.
Yes, I don't know what happened. What did I miss?
Your
You
introduction.
just missed your introduction, so.
So go ahead and introduce.
Yeah, we can go. We can do that right now.
What do I do?
So just introduce you, your role on the team, maybe.
Hello, I'm Genzi. I used to play Genji. Now I play Sigma. And now I only play 3 out of 4 games. I used to play 4 Pepe because of the meta.
I mean, you still play most, don't you?
Yeah.
I feel like you do. I get to play all Smile.
8 players now instead of one missing a BethCon.
Yeah, those 2
Beth
weeks were
Con-
actually rough.
crazy doctor. For those people that don't know, Beth Con's actually my sister, so I know a lot of people know Beth from like prior seasons or whatever.
Yeah, I
So
was on Solo Cup last season.
she forced me to join. She said, "Hey, there's gonna be a tryout," and it was like initially we were on Karma, and then we split away and created our own team. I'm always threatening to split away from Holy Jalapenos and create my own team. But, yeah,
What would be the name of that team that you split away and make, Malice? What would the name be?
The Army of the Lord Bajorns, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yo, what about the Church of Aming, dude?
The Church of
Church
Aming.
Aming. Oh.
It's Among.
I'm a resilient follower of the Church of Aming. You shall see no Winston play for me at all this season.
I play Winston Smile.
If you ever see Torbolny on Winston, it is the most reluctant choice of all time.
Just know
It's
something has
legit
gone
throwing, I'm not gonna
horribly,
say.
horribly wrong.
The only time I've ever seen him willingly pick Winston is second point defense on Horizon Lunar Colony.
This whole interview is just shitting on Tor.
Basically.
Ah.
We love Torb.
It's
Well,
just like
that
what we
shit's
do
on
normally,
me.
right?
We're not really shitting on him. We're just praising his balls.
Yeah, you suck.
Wait, I'm 15. TOS.
Oh shit! I'm out. I keep forgetting. Do I have to get kicked now?
Yeah, we're gonna have to kick you. That's
Oh,
unfortunate.
crap.
Yeah. That's okay.
You're a good ball player.
My job, once again, is to hurdle these cats.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Because this is the conversations they have every game during the game between games.
Mid-fight.
And I have to stop this. There was one point they were talking about. I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah,
We don't
I think
need
I know
that.
what you're gonna say.
We don't need that.
Let's just say it involves one certain gender of Overwatch characters having genitalia they should not have.
Oh my god.
Ah.
I repressed that memory so hard. Don't bring
It
this
was-
up. I don't
It
need
was some horrifying stuff that was.
It was an
seen,
intellectual
We're done.
conversation.
We moved past it.
Team bonding, you know how it is.
I mean, this VOD's getting deleted. You can probably say whatever you want at this point.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, more onto a guided question. You guys have been talking about some tank picks or a lack thereof. So to the tanks of the team, in this meta, what heroes are you finding the most success with? I know double shield is like the
Genji.
norm, but okay, excellent choice.
I mean, I only play 3 characters, so.
One character.
Alright, ball. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I have been finding success on ball. I'd like to say to a fair amount. My Ryan's subpar, I guess.
Oh no, your run actually is good. I forgot about run.
Yeah, we
I can't think of what's the third one.
It's
yeah,
Arissa.
Arissa.
Oh yeah.
Arissa Jail.
I hate Arissa. If you
The problem is like Arissa like fits the easiest into all of like the tank meta comps currently. She's just like
Yeah.
super impressive with
I remember-
her shield.
I recall him asking the tanks of the team, Meebles. You don't play Arissa
Plays tank
anymore first?
occasionally.
Does.
Sometimes.
Meebles will play Arissa. In the
I have
finals.
recorded an Arissa game.
Probably the best Winston on the team.
That's true.
Yeah, we used Winston for a long time. So,
Winston's been dead in the meta for a long time.
but yeah. So Beth, what about you and your tank successes?
Well, I've had to pick up Sigma because Diva is dead in the water, and she was probably my best off tank. And then Zarya occasionally can still play her, but been kind of trying to grind out some Sigma gameplay recently.
Alright,
Gotcha.
Now my serious answer, since in order for me not to fade into obscurity, because I don't play the meta DPS super, I force my team to play Ryan Zarya because I'm good at Zarya, and that's
Hey, it's
how we
not a
game.
force if I enjoy it. Don't worry.
Ah. Gotcha. No, do you come from your Zarya knowledge stemming from like the GOATS era or just like a
Yes,
pocket
I
fun
used
hero?
to be the good Zarya player.
Ah, okay, interesting.
What do you
interesting.
mean? We played triple DPS.
No,
Oh.
I'm
Before
on
this team.
my previous team.
But yeah, the first 2 weeks of the season, we were like, oh yeah, we're going to be a trip DPS team. And then we find out that it's going to go too long. We're like, well, we're gonna have to change everything we practice.
That's
Never
I
playing Genji again.
am right there with you. We had a very different team coming into the preseason tournament, and the first couple weeks running pretty much exclusively triple support solo tank. But now I have to tank with someone else, and it's not always the most fun. I feel like I like being the only guy up front. It's really a lot of responsibility. But anyway, enough about that. It's DPS. Now, I personally believe DPS have the most flexibility across metas, just because, you have the biggest category. But in this meta, even more so, I feel like Mei, Sim, Reaper, Doom, Pharah, McCree to some extent, maybe Widow if you're still popping. Tracer's looking to get to a really nice buff. Junkrat and Hanzo have their place in Shield Break. Bastion's been seeing a lot of play in pro level and tier 2 play. So DPS, what do you have to say about your role and some of your favorite heroes in your role?
I really like Mei. Well, I hate Mei and I like Mei. It's a love-hate relationship. Games where we're playing super aggro, I love playing Mei because then I just wall off the tanks and we just beat the hell out of the other team. Those are super fun games. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really played Reaper too much before this meta, but I don't know. He's not super hard to pick up. I feed a lot, but what else is new?
I think you're right. I think DPS, it's fun having a whole bunch of different selections for each potential scenario. I have found myself at least been Doom, Junk, Bastion, and just starting to pick up Reaper because I tried Mei once and threw by accident.
By accident.
But I didn't know I was throwing, okay?
Feed until you pop off. That's the name of the game.
I honestly love I don't know. I love this meta right now. I know everyone else hates it, but I love
come on.
I don't know. I like all the DPS. Everyone's the Mallard, the Widow, one trick, whatever. I actually am garbage at Widow, and I just made myself look good, and everyone thought I was good for a little while. I fooled everyone.
Now, as I'm listed as a flex player, I can answer for all 3 categories. So, my answer for the DPS category, that I don't play DPS anymore. I used to play Sim, and now I didn't like playing Sim, but now I miss it because now I play Sigma. So Sim was kind of fun, and that's all I could play once this meta came out.
For DPS, it's basically snipers are kind of dead, and what was the other one? Genji are really the only big hits. Basically, you can play anything else though, depending on map pool.
Okay, well, you literally just listed the only things I can play.
Yeah,
No, I completely agree. As someone who pretty much exclusively plays the Shimada brothers, it's not looking good for your boy anymore. That's why I'm a tank player now. And yeah, it's I mean I can still find success as Genji. Any fool who decides to go Zarya against me, I'll eat your grab for breakfast and spit it right back at you. But up until someone starts making that mistake again, I'm kind of done with Genji. And then Hanzo, he is a lot of good shield break in this double shield, but there's just no situation where the 2 other DPS on my team just don't go Bastion and make me look like an idiot for picking a guy with an arrow. So I definitely see it. And Junkrat. No, our Junkrat is really good, and just the character is really good. I love him, super good, but I don't know. I really like Stormbow. I feel very cool and edgy when I hit that button. So nothing better than that.
That edgy skin of Hanzo's, right?
But now on to the supports. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about support flexibility in this current meta. I know a lot of people don't think Brig and Zen are that good, but they have been seeing play at tier 2 and a little bit of tier 1 play with Brig Ana and Baptiste Zen combos.
Brig Lucio.
Brig Lucio is a slept on combo. I see it in ranked all the time. But
yeah, hear that, Scooter?
I saw it in finals.
But yeah,
it's all the Titans use it and they instantly lost. Okay.
But yeah, what do you think coming from the supports? What are some heroes that you find success on? What are some fun supports that maybe you weren't playing when you were stuck in Zen Lucio Brig jail with goats?
I'm a Moira one trick.
Oh, nice.
You're not even a support play.
I can still be a Moira one trick.
Don't worry, neither. No, I'll answer first. Okay, listen as I can answer for all 3 categories. Okay,
right, let's see it.
The supports I play probably consist of only quick scoping is on, and probably a little bit of Zen, because I don't like to throw, so I play Zen and I pop off. Yikes.
Right.
Let this be known that
Right.
he has never played support even in the scrims.
What about the real support? What do they do?
Yeah, but for like real, like Baptiste is super strong. His immortality, like especially set up in our bunker, like behind Orisa, it's a lot to deal with. It makes it almost impossible to like dive in. And if we coordinate our cooldowns well, like he's like a top pick for sure. We do get good value out of Mercy still, even though she's a bit, not main meta, because what's getting damage boost is really valuable, especially with a lot of the bunker we run. I don't know, with Zen and Brig, like I personally feel like Brig's really hard to get value out of. Like her healing is a little bit like slow right now compared to what it used to be, especially compared to Baptiste. And then like a lot of the comps right now, like doing a Ryan Zarya, it's like a lot of the comps just aren't brawly enough like that to let Brig have a lot of value. Zen, I think is like actually pretty good. I mean, his ult and then having Discord are like two of the strongest just abilities and ultimates in the game. So I could totally see him getting value, but I mean, it's really hard to have to play Zen in a team environment, especially when you have to coordinate with someone like Baptiste to save you from someone that might dive on your Zen. He's really squishy and vulnerable without something like immortality to save him. What else do we run?
I just to add on to that, Zen I think would be really good in the meta because like his healing can go through shields and stuff. But the big thing is how strong Moira is and how overpowered Moira is.
Oh yeah.
How much you need Lucio's speed boost. Basically, because those two heroes are so good, and like the Baptiste Immortality for a secondary option, like there's no reason to ever play any healers besides those, just because those ones are so good.
And there are just a lot of shields for Ana to have to like work around.
Ana's just
Ana's awful right now. I don't know. It all depends. Like, sorry, I play support primarily in comp. Like that's like all I play. But like, it's like you pick up like a Zen over a Lucio solely in the situation. If you're going for like full shield break comp, which can work, but doesn't usually work from my experience.
There's general better options than to do.
Yeah. I think these new changes coming up on the PTR will possibly let Zen see a little bit more use with like dive, because then his orbs, which obviously stay on beyond shields, will really help out like a tracer, those heroes that are getting buffed. So I'm looking forward to that because I mean as a support, Zen is super fun to play.
Do you think Moira's changes on the PTR are going to change her viability?
Well, it makes her worse, but she's still the best.
Broken.
What's her change?
Yeah.
Self-healing's down.
That doesn't mean, change a lot.
Yeah, I like her fade. Things. I mean, so useful.
Still, if you're running Moira Lucio, which we usually do, you still have the Lucio healing plus the self healing, so she's pretty much still getting.
Yeah, her healing ball is still incredible. I mean, she works out really well also with Ryan Zarya, which we love to run. So
I think their strat and the nerfs of Moira is they're trying to keep her playstyle the same, but they don't want her to be able to 1v1 every hero in the game.
Right, that's how I read it as well. Was that like without any changes, Moira came to be like the most dominant support like in a long time, and pair with Lucio just to kind of maximize the volume of her utility. And then now with these like changes to her and the changes to like dive characters, I don't think Moira is going anywhere. I just think that this opens up the support door kind of wide as like maybe the DPS one is, where it's like you actually have options when it comes to picking your supports instead of just Moira Lucio. Now you can go back to like Mercy Zen, Bap Zen, Brig Lucio, and stuff like that, just to find niches to kind of get around the backbone of this double shield comp, because I think Orisa and Sigma are both really good. I just think that people are quickly realizing that the tank comps aren't that good. Like double shield's like okay, but the reason it's so good is because it's propped up by such a stable backline with Moira Lucio. So we'll have to see when these PTR changes go live, or maybe Tier 1 or Tier 2 shows us how to play the game right, because we're just all students of the game. But beyond that, your success in the Harmony tier cannot be overstated. Congratulations to you guys for doing, considerably well. I consider you guys like a
Thank you.
pretty high tier
thank
team.
Thanks.
So what for us who aren't as fortunate, what are some keys to success that you found? It could be like in the game, it could be out of the game, anything that you're willing to indulge us in. Like share with us your secrets, I guess, or the ones
I
you're
think-
willing to share.
A big thing with us is we play comp all the time. Like we don't have like a set like, oh, we're gonna play comp, but like right before this interview, me, Torb, Spoods, Needle, and Beth. No, not Beth. Beth was in the chat, but she wasn't playing with us, and we were all just like queuing comp, playing together. And I think it's like, we flex around and stuff, and I think it's really helped us honestly like understand each other better and like what we actually like to play aside from like Spooderman set comps. Because like Spoods will tell us, at the beginning of a map, be like, oh, well, like here's the suggested comp, like you guys should probably run this, see if it works. But then if it doesn't work mid game, he can't sit there and come into our ears unless he calls a timeout. So we kind of have to figure it out and be like, oh, well, in comp we were playing really well and really coordinated when we were doing this. And I know it doesn't quite transfer, but like I honestly think that us playing comp so much has like greatly improved, because like the first few weeks we barely played comp, and then once we started playing a lot together and just like up to the hours we played together, because creating organized scrims takes time, but just the amount of time we played in game.
And one of the skills that does transfer is just like communication. So like just the more that we play together, the more comfortable we get with each other's comms. Like you don't need the full squad there, and you can still gain a lot as far as calling for other people's abilities if you need them. Just in all these pickup comp games that we play.
And adding on to that, I think it's definitely helped us out that we haven't really had any roster changes since the start of the season.
I mean, we added mules.
Except for adding our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, announcement. Before we added Meebles, we were 0-2, and now we're 6-1 after adding.
Wow, that's value.
Look at the numbers, yeah.
Numbers do not lie.
So what was it? Did you guys lose to overtime and then it got reverted, or was it Careless Pandas?
We're at 6-3, actually.
Oh, okay.
6-1 from the first two losses.
I see. I was about to say, I was like, wow, getting a loss taken off the board. That's incredible.
No.
But I
Very
see.
first place.
We lost to Maelstrom and Jetpack
Jetpack.
Cat in the first two.
Vitamins.
Original
yeah.
Jetpack
And
Cats
then-
was a incredible team. That
And
was.
then the Smurf left.
Oh,
I mean,
come on, man.
I'm that. Sorry, slip up, mix up.
Slip up, yeah.
We won't tell anybody. No one ever
I
sees
mean,
these.
it was quite high SR.
As a coach
Which is
for
good.
the Harmony tier, I think I do things pretty differently than any other one else does as far as coaching. The biggest thing for Harmony tier players, I think, is just learning to play as a team and comms and macro stuff. So when I do coaching, I don't think I like ever do any micro coaching with you guys. Like maybe I'll say something here and there, but it's almost all macro. And so a lot of the micro stuff you guys can learn from like watching people who are better at the game than me. Like at this point, a lot of you have climbed SR to pass what my SR is at. I mean, I'm a higher SR in all roles, but it's fine. But like you guys play a lot of comp and watch a lot of VODs from people who are smarter than me to get micro stuff. But that's again for the Harmony tier. I watch some other teams' games and I hear like comms and stuff, and like as someone watching third person, I don't understand what's happening. Compared to, I can't imagine someone being in the game understanding what's happening.
Right.
And so that's something we've really worked on, and I like up to this point now, I'm really happy with how things have turned out for comms. Because Mallard and I actually watched back our first game on Saturday, and it was
against Maelstrom?
yeah, and it was kind of a mess.
Oh, send that to me. I want to watch that.
Well, basically, a lot of it was you guys doing calls, but the biggest thing I had to teach you guys was to use your ears because you just won't listen to people.
Just use your ears, forehead.
I think half of Junkertown versus Maelstrom was just us calling out the strangest places where triage was hiding. He would be like hiding on the moon, sniping us. And we were triage was just insane on that map. That's why Maelstrom beat us. I mean, Maelstrom is really good, but I can't wait to
Yeah,
see in
they're
the
definitely
playoffs.
really good.
But I think that's our biggest thing right now is we're playing as a team versus as 6 players, and I think that's a big thing to do steps forward. Discord tiered teams normally kind of have that handled from what I've seen though.
I
So
mean, we're
it's
not
a little
Discord,
different up
though.
there.
It's I mean, from my own personal perspective, like you said earlier, like your ears like are probably you're the most overpowered tool in the game is just being able to have 5 people that are willing to tell you what the heck you're doing right and wrong at any given moment. So yeah, no, it's a cool game up here in Discord tier 2. It's a little frustrating when you have a team like Commit that just says all your effort that you put into this game is meaningless, kid. Get out of my game. And I'm like, oh, but it's still super fun to see that like those players SR wise are only like a hop, skip, and a jump away from me. So like I see how good potentially I could be if I just like change the way I play, and every loss is just like so much more rewarding than the wins, which is something I haven't been able to feel before in this community. So super thankful to the Tranquility community and you guys and everybody else who's in here. So awesome,
League
awesome
smile.
people. Oh yeah. But on a more progressive note, beyond than just the meta and stuff like that, and then your time in the community, what do you think about your playoff potential? I mean, I'm fairly certain that maybe you only need like 1 win and then you're guaranteed in, because only 4 teams will be dropped in the Harmony tier because of the overtime leaving instead of 5.
Sandbag question mark?
Well, that's the thing. Like,
No.
do you practice these next couple weeks on a comp that may be more viable come playoff time, or do you
Triple
practice a
DPS?
double meta? Do you what do you
Hell yeah.
what do you all think about come playoffs time?
I mean,
I don't
we
know.
played ball hog against Karma.
All right.
That's
Yeah, we
true.
played some
We
weird-
did. That's
I don't know. I think I think the big thing is like teams you're seeing more and more are like starting to click, and so like we clicked pretty early and started like after the first couple of weeks we started just like calming and just shredding, like not shredding teams but just like everything was starting to get more fluid, and it's like it's at a pretty high level right now. But I think we still like can't discount any team ever, because all it takes is just like all of a sudden something clicks, boom, and then it goes from just 6 men playing in the same server to a team.
Men.
Well, boys, girls, I don't care.
Yeah,
But, like-
we had the unfortunate lifestyle of going against like Maelstrom and Jetpack Cats early, who are teams who are very strong at the beginning because a lot of the players have played together for a while, earlier than this preseason. But now coming up late, we have games like Undead Battery, who have really been popping off recently. When people thought they weren't going to be that strong early, and then now once they've kind of gone through their rebuild, they're starting to pick up steam, and we'll still have to go against teams like that. And this is my opinion, but I don't care about throwing a game. That just seems dumb.
Right.
The whole point is to have fun. So why get rid of one of our chances to have fun?
So identical to our schedule, up in the Discord tier for Prodigious, our last game is also a bye, so that's kind of cool. What do you think about these next couple weeks? I mean, this like coming Wednesday, right, is their game against Careless Pandas. That's potentially the hardest game that you all have left, unless you want to consider like DDoS and Undead Batteries and Fighting Potatoes all in that ring with the Careless Pandas. We've done a couple tier lists at this point, and people tend to think Careless Pandas are like in that upper echelon of play behind Maelstrom and Vitamin C, but in that like Illusion, Karma, you guys, Jetpack Cats kind of area of the tier. So any special preparation for this week coming up as opposed to the rest, or just more of the same?
I mean, I don't think we really prep for much. We just play the game.
I don't tell you guys, but we do.
Spoods preps a lot.
Like crazy.
He
said,
the
but-
Pandas had a bye last week against Jetpack Cats, so I didn't get any like super recent information. And then before that, it was Karma. So I've watched that game, Careless Pandas v Karma. We only had 3 maps because I think Careless Pandas
I
forfeited.
thought it was only 2.
They played 3, but then forfeited map 4.
Ah.
And from what I've seen, Careless Pandas, it's kind of like 2 teams when you watch different VODs, because sometimes they like are super insane and scary, and then against Karma, I don't know exactly if someone was missing, because I think they just lost Dim Ryan a little bit before that.
Right.
So we're not going to not prep. Like, we're going to treat each game like it's the hardest game we're going to play. We're not going to overlook any teams or underprepared just because we're fighting or we're like playing against like a lower tier team or anything like that.
We're not doing a Python situation.
Yeah.
We played our hardest against Python. Wait, we won.
Our problem.
Hey.
Like, I don't say anything bad about Pythons. I think it was just we were playing.
Jen's insane.
We were
I
just
know
playing.
that.
We were just playing like dumb. That's all it was. Like, it was just like we weren't mentally where we should have been, and that was the only reason why. They were playing really well, and we just weren't mentally equipped to deal with that. Because I don't know anything about any team. Well, I do know stuff about teams, but I don't ever be like, oh well, so and so ranked this like as a C tier team, therefore it should be easy game because we're in B tier or whatever. Like I couldn't care less about that stuff. I feel like every single game is insanely winnable as long as we play our best and try our hardest. So I feel like that's what I try to get our preparation to be for every single game, just to be like, think of every team as good, but think of it as a winnable match no matter what. Because I don't know.
No, that's well. I mean, that's well said. I hope everybody thinks in a similar manner. It's the teams that you under prepare for are the ones that are gonna end up beating you in the long run. So why even chance it? So I completely concur. And just a heads up, this interview, a whole idea is a big backer of the Pythons. They were my first team that hit me up for an interview. So we love them. They're very silly snakes over there.
My example there is just there was a kind of people taking it easier, and I don't like it when we take any team easier, because like they took a map off of us. I think that was what like their first big reconstruction, and they took a map off of us, and I mean it just goes to show that you can't take any team, even if it's like a brand new team, easy, because you can still lose if you don't play your hardest.
Right. I think that was what they.
Looking great. They took
as a coach, when you guys aren't doing what I want you do as the most it can get. I think that's a good example.
Living to our fullest potential.
It's a good example of why you gotta prep for every map. You can't take anything for granted.
I thought
except overtime.
I thought it was drawable, but I don't really know anything, and I also don't pay attention.
I think overtime's the scariest team. They have not lost yet.
Right. Okay, sure. that's a take. But yeah, no, that's super cool. That you guys all think like that, and you all have such unique views on things. But it seems that you have a lot of synergy. You all get along well, which is super cool. Before this, like, who were the founding members? Was it just all of you at the same time? Just came over from Karma, like you said earlier? Or was it just one by one, the pieces fell into place?
Beth and I were on Solo Cup last season.
And then I'm Beth's brother.
And then I left Overwatch. Beth and Mallard joined Karma, right? At the same time?
Yeah, basically.
And then over a few times you guys decided to make your own team.
And Spoods hates playing the game, so
I can coach because I don't have to play.
And then
you had Bork.
Bork, who's my roommate, is on the team. Meebles is my brother-in-law. And then
we're all family.
This is just a big old family, yeah.
And then we got
a friend of a friend.
Johnny's a friend of a friend. Torbol, he's the 15-year-old main tank who's a pure and complete Chad that we love.
And then Chim is the brother husband.
And then Needle is our silent assassin. He murders.
Goes
more people
AFK
on
without
support.
telling it.
He murders more people on support than I've ever seen.
Wow, that's really cool how everybody's just closely related. I come from a team that we were all friends in IRL before we had the team, so I love that kind of like natural synergy. Because like if a game goes bad, we're like, all right, meet at the Pizza Hut. Like it's not a big
Oh,
deal.
Pizza Hut, bro.
Hold on.
Well,
we have a Taco
we don't
John's?
actually go to the
Time out.
Pizza Hut. That's just the phrase we use because it's like an old sports thing. Because we all used to play like lacrosse and baseball, so it's just like when the coach was ready to grill you, they're like, well, we're gonna take them all to Pizza Hut so they don't hate us afterwards, but they're that kind of stuff.
I totally relate to that.
Yeah, if I'm gonna make an 8-year-old cry, they're gonna have pizza in their hand. So
We'd always
Confuse
go.
an 8-year-old.
There was like a buffet in my hometown, and after we'd get toasted in a basketball game, our coach would sometimes take us there. Well, it
see,
wasn't in our
same.
hometown, actually.
Yep.
Quick timeout.
Close.
Did Meebles call me his brother's husband?
A brother, husband. It's like the sister.
Okay.
It's
Got
a
it.
Virginia thing.
Yeah.
Very familiar with the area. But yeah, no, that's super cool. I like that natural synergy stuff, and I like the camaraderie and the family feel. It feels like you're all just giving each other a big hug. It's very adorable. But yeah, so we're nearing towards the part where I do a little bit more of the self-guiding. But before that, is there anything that excites you about the Tranquility League that we haven't already mentioned? Like potentially like the meetups or
No,
playoffs or
no.
anything like that? No? Oh, okay.
Well, we were gonna Spoons
Next
and I
question.
were gonna go to the meetup because Spoons and I are actually neighbors as well.
Oh,
And we were gonna go to the Kansas City meetup, but then I found out that it's my dad's 60th birthday, so now I'm not going. I guess Spoons isn't either. So
You just found
I
that
have
out.
nowhere to stay down there.
I just found out that that's when we're celebrating it. 'cause he
Yeah, it
turns
changes
60
every
on,
year.
like Friday.
A
I'm
dynamic
too young
birthday.
to.
Torb, I'll come over to wherever you live, since we live in the same state, and I'll bring cookies, and it won't be weird. And
I think that makes it weird, Beth.
it does make it weird.
I'll
Hey
give you
guys,
candy.
definitely mixed. You want some cookies? You want some cookies, little boy? You want some cookies, little boy?
Personally, yeah, I wouldn't mind a cookie. That'd be
I
kind
would love some freaking
Yeah,
cookies.
sure.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
My voice is
Need
going
some
out again.
chicken
What's
noodle
up?
soup. Yeah.
But it's only like a 6-hour flight if you want to bring me cookies.
You know, one of us wins the lottery, we'll just have our own jalapenos meet. Fine.
I also won't pay for it.
The Holy Jalapeno House. All right, I see it.
True Gaming House.
Yeah.
Oh, good pod.
But yeah, as I said, Beth and I were part of Trank last season. We actually joined because
Solo
of our Solo Cup. Sorry, we joined Solo Cup, and we joined because Zuby, who was the coach of Solo Cup last season, we were actually on his team in a Jane tournament.
Like a Peasant Cup tournament.
Yeah, one of those
Get good.
random teammates,
It was just a one-day thing.
and it was just a one-day thing. And Beth was on his team, and then someone on their team left, so then I joined. And no one told me it would take like 7 hours because we just ran goats and basically got all the way to get to a casted match with Jane.
And got
then-
destroyed by
And then from there,
Doomfist.
Beth joined Solo Cup, and then eventually I joined.
Back when you still
Kinda-
loved the game. Oh, those were
What
the
a
days.
So yeah, let's talk more about that, Spooter. So you're the coach of the team. I don't think I've yet to talk to a coach who's separate from the team. It's usually like the coach is like one of the players, or they're more of a captain than a coach. So what has that role been like for you? This is just genuine curiosity. This is not trying to dig at anything.
Well, for me, I was the IGL for Solo Cup. And over time, it's just, I kind of like the way of having a separate entity be the coach. It's a big thing. It lets, if someone gets mad, they'll generally would get like mad at me because I'll be the one telling people to do. Or if there's a disagreement, then I can be kind of a tiebreaker. Who I'm not in the game, so I don't have like a personal stake in it, which I personally think is a better way to run things. But I watch, a big thing for me being the coach is I'm not like incredible at the game. My biggest benefit is that I basically play every hero. I'm diamond in all roles right now. But that being said, like Johnny on Doomfist, like there's no coaching I can do to teach him that. He's way better at Doomfist than I'll ever be. But what I do see is like when Johnny on Doomfist will flank, because I'm in a third person perspective. If Johnny will go for a flank, and I can see that he goes in too early or too late and doesn't maximize his value, he can do. And so then I just kind of, that's why my big focus is on comms, so we can really maximize everyone's potential on the team. Because I think at this point it's just I call it just a plat league, but anyone who's been looking out and tries to join a community like this obviously loves the game enough and plays the game enough that I don't see a lot of need for micro coaching, because they're the ones who went out and decided to join a team. Like that's the first step, and that's the hardest step for people to do. So that's my kind of thought on it. Is I'm just trying to teach them how to play as a team and not play the game necessarily.
Yeah, you have that neutral perspective that can reel it in when there's something that's wrong or something that's misunderstood that you can relate back to the team just from watching. That's really cool. You mentioned before using the term macro. That was like a lot of where you would focus your input to the team. Could you give me like a Spooderman trial of what a macro like a macro fix would be, or a macro change, or a macro strat, something like that? Just give me an idea of what you're talking about.
By macro, I mostly mean comms and then talking to the team. So, like before a fight, the best teams will be able to make decisions really quickly and adapt. But there's ways to help you get ready for that. So, for example, if we're going and playing on a map, I'll say, okay, make sure to say which route you're going and when you guys are going and what cooldowns you're using to get there. So, for example, if we're playing on like something just like Hanamura, whether you go right out of spawn or left out of attack spawn, just stuff like that you say as a team. That way you all go the same direction and work together. I think if you just talk about these things beforehand, it really gives your team that edge when it comes to team fights, because you're all grouped together and you don't lose those few seconds where someone who got split off has to rotate around. For strats, I think our best strat was the Nepal one. That one against Karma, if you've seen it. We pull out a little cheeky attack bunker with May.
Numbani.
Or Numbani.
Numbani, yeah.
And I think we went back and watched it, and I think we had 0 deaths on our entire first Numbani push.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Stuff like that was just, it's so fun to like try to theorize it and then watch people perform on it in such a high degree. It's I get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, that vindication. Like, yes, I know what I'm talking about kind of stuff.
One of Spooder's phrases is, it's better for 6 people to do the wrong thing together than 6 individuals to do the right thing separately, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Better for 6 people to do the wrong thing together than 4 people to do the right thing and 2 people to do the wrong thing. Like having some people do the right thing doesn't help unless you all do. That's what makes it the right thing.
Gotcha. Well, that's super cool. That's a nice mindset to have, and I am very jealous and admire the fact that you guys have such a cool coach willing to help you out like that. Super neat.
Cool coach.
Yeah, super cool.
Not
But yeah, so we're nearing the 15-minute ending mark. So that's when we're gonna get to like the more tangible things that the viewers could understand. So I mentioned this earlier to a few people that got here early, but as a team, you can say this individually. You can like convene for like a couple like seconds or a couple minutes and decide amongst yourselves, but just shout it out if you feel it's necessary. Who do you think has improved the most on the team? And that doesn't have to be mechanically or on a hero. Just who has come from what you thought was the hardest spot and has really made a change for the better?
Mallard has. He's gotten pretty nasty with it.
I would throw Needle out there.
Yeah,
And Needle's definitely a guy.
Well, see, the thing is, so I was like always saying like, oh wow, Needle just got so good. What the hell happened? And then the other day, Spoods came over to my apartment and we rewatched our first match like we talked about earlier. and Needle was doing a lot of the same stuff, but he just wasn't like saying it and telling us like, "Hey, I did this," and now he'll say it because he'll just communicate it to us, so now we can be like, "Oh, nasty Needle," he's out here in these streets.
Like
That's
Needle
suck.
in the old days, Needle would get dived by Winston on Ana, and then he would wait until he either dies or kills the Winston to call it. And now he like calms.
Now he's
literally,
like, "Oh, Winston's on me. Oh wait, he's dead."
A lot of it's just confidence with
or oh wait, I'm dead.
learning to trust your team and calming a little more. Mallard, though, as a player, before the season started, I don't think you watched any Overwatch at all. You've played it a lot, but I don't think you ever watched any like professionals. And you've been doing a lot of that, and it's really been seen in your play, where you're not just like going in and trying to 1v6 a team. Now you're actually trying to play with your team. So that's a big thing I think we have.
Super cool. Good. Well, congrats to Mallard and Needle. You guys are obviously showing up. It's super cool. And then, as the second little, I guess, award that you give your teammates would be, who contributes the most outside of the game? Who's like the person pushing you forward the most, the positive voice in your ear?
Beth and Johnny are both like incredibly positive. Like, honestly, I literally cannot find a way to get tilted if Beth and Johnny are in the game.
You will
Like,
tell me how nice they are.
Johnny is so nice that he doesn't realize like what he's saying is like not going to be perceived as nice.
Yeah, I know.
He can say something like he will sincerely be like, "Oh my god, guys, that was an amazing try to the other team," and we're like, "Johnny, that's like kind of like, no, I actually meant it. It was an insane
like,
I
try."
remember at the end of the last Karma game, he like put something and put like in parentheses afterwards, sincere. We're like, Johnny, no.
Like he actually is the most wholesome man that has ever existed.
Johnny will be like, we'll like 4-0 team in a scrimmage. Johnny will be like, you guys did really great! Exclamation! Really good match today.
And
I mean it though, I promise.
Yeah, no, like he does. That's the most insane part.
I'm sure out of context, when it's just text on a screen, that really can upset somebody who's already a little tilted.
I know. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, I love it. I did the same thing. Get
chat
yelled
now.
at like by my team, and we used to have a player before we joined who was just incredibly toxic. Rest in peace. But one of my good friends, IRL, he's just got that gamer personality. Once you're behind the keyboard, you turn into a terrible person. But yeah, we would lose in like a scrim or something like that, and the other team would be like, "Great job, guys! I hope we see you again." And he would just get incredibly more tilted as compared to someone who'd be like, "You guys suck," and he'd be like, "Ah ha ha, it's nothing." But yeah, no, that's fun. I like that. So congrats to you, Beth and Johnny. And then now comes where feelings get hurt. The Holy Jalapenos endorsed tier list of the Harmony tier.
Oh.
I have it up on
hell
stream.
yeah.
You don't have to do the entire tier. It's mainly like a power rankings of like the top 8. So again, you can just like the last ones, you can decide amongst yourselves before, or if you just want to shout something out, I'll throw it up there. Of,
Overtime.
Overtime's number 1. Well, currently they have their own category that's called Bye Bye. With aimbots and frantic lava cats, and then my team is also off limits. It's called My Team Smiley Face, so you can't talk about us. I like you too.
Okay.
I think it's hard in the Harmony tier to argue against Vitamin C being number 1.
Yeah.
Vitamin Seasons.
I would agree.
Are we talking about skill level or
Current
like
power.
personality?
Okay, don't talk about personalities.
Vitamin C.
Personality wise, I would put them on the bottom. I would
They
put them on
Okay.
destroyed us.
No.
Well, they destroy us. We
They're
gotta
very
knock
nice
off.
people. Like Sushi's great. They're all very nice. It's just Capital.
yeah,
He's in
yeah,
my
yeah.
Discord. I know him.
90%
He's my
of
problem.
them.
Capital.
I'm trying to work on
Them are
him.
really nice.
I don't get involved in the politics. All I know is that Vitamin C played amazing. Capital, I remember one time he just came out of nowhere on Lucio and just fragged
Yeah,
me
no,
so
he did
hard.
it 3 pushes in a row. 3 pushes in a row. He gets a double
I
boot.
was like, this guy's not even good, which means you're the best fucking player. Sorry if I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but that means you're the best player I have seen in like the last 10 minutes. Because like, or a little bit longer. But like,
Glowing
I'm
endorsement
just,
from the
if
You
I
have the
call-
goldfish attention span.
if I tell anyone, if you ever come by my stream, watch another thing, and you hear me say this guy is so bad, it usually means I just got my dome rocked by them, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm like, oh, I can get him.
Like-
Don't worry.
You know you're good. You know you're good when half my block list after we lost to them is vitamin C.
Damn, bro. That
So
sucks.
they played really well.
They did. They definitely played very well. They're a great team, hands down.
Karma, I put Karma up there, toss him up there. That game, sorry, I have like laryngitis or something, so my voice keeps going out. Karma, holy bajorns. That was so close. That game, that was intense. That was, oh.
I had a
Wait,
great
Put
piece of
Karma
salmon
as
during
2,
halftime.
or do
You
you
can put
his-
Karma as 2.
I would put ourselves at 2.
Yeah, we're
I
number
put-
2.
No.
Oh, you're number 2. Okay.
No, I don't think
I would not say we're number 2.
I mean,
I'd
I'd say
put
we're
it
number
I'd
1,
put
but
Eclipse
I
at
think we'd be above
Well, I guess
Karma
I'd
by
put us,
result
yeah,
of
I'd
beating
put
them.
ourselves, I guess I didn't think of us ranking ourselves, though. I'd put us in front of Karma just because we beat them. That match was...
yeah.
Okay.
But
I
like
mean,
the
we beat
head-to-head
Illusion
is-
too, but are we
Oh.
Illusion. I thought it was Eclipse.
See, I think Karma was better than Illusion, but that was when we played them. I'm not sure really how much changed
Yeah.
then.
I mean, I don't feel like we played Illusion at their full strength.
I mean,
They
we've
missed
only
it. They were
gotten
missing
better.
one player.
Yeah, but still.
Hey, part of being a good team is maintaining consistency, being able to
True.
always
Yeah, so
operate
far,
at full
we're
strength.
their only loss is the thing.
I mean, you won't see, like, because Overwatch compared to a real sport would be like football, and you can't see one player carry a football team. They can do well, Tom Brady's good, but he can't carry. Like, you throw
Yeah,
Jimmy
you-
Garoppolo in that same situation.
I
he's
mean,
doing well.
Jetpack
You put
Cats
Tom Brady behind
I mean,
Houston out
let's-
offensive
don't say
line.
that about
like,
Jetpack Cats. Jetpack Cats beat us without melts even in the game.
Are
you sure?
That is
I'm not
true.
so sure. I'm not so sure about that.
I don't
The
think that's
first half they
correct.
beat us, Melts wasn't in.
Yeah,
That's-
well, Melts
Let's
was good.
talk about next. Let's talk about next.
The next one.
Okay, so right now I'm only throwing down. It was hard to keep track. I put Vitamin C 1, Illusion 2, Jalapenos 3, Karma 4, Jetpack Cats 5th.
Maelstrom
Wait,
needs to be in
Maelstrom
there.
needs to be
Maelstrom's
on there.
5 for sure.
Maelstrom? Where do you want that?
Probably
Five.
back.
No.
Just,
No,
Because-
Maelstrom 5. What?
Maelstrom.
no,
First?
I mean, they have to
Fifth,
be
right?
in front
I
of
put him out.
Is wait.
I would put him in front of Karma. Wait, so we're
In front of
three.
Karma.
Wait, who's 2?
Illusion.
Illusion.
Why is Illusion 2?
I don't. I,
Okay, we should be 2.
I heard they're okay. Now you guys are 2.
Them.
No. No, it should be Vitamin C, Maelstrom, us, and then Karma.
Chim, are you okay?
And then Karma.
But-
Are
Okay.
you
Wait,
okay? Are
Are you
you
okay,
okay?
Has
Jim?
one
Are
loss.
you okay?
Maelstrom has a couple at this point.
Yeah, but imagine losing to us.
What? Maelstrom only has 1 loss. What do you mean?
Oh, do they? I thought they had.
Yeah, I
two.
thought-
They have the exact same map
Who
as
did?
Vitamin C.
Who
Oh,
did lose to?
Careless Pandas 2-1.
Damn.
Oh, was that like
I
first
have-
week?
No,
No,
that
some
was
two
like
weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, 2 weeks.
I
I
totally
think
forgot
Maelstrom-
about Maelstrom.
Pretty strong, yeah.
But
I
I mean, if
guess-
you're gonna give the argument of Illusion had 1 bad game, you can say the same for Maelstrom.
yeah, that's
Yeah, I
true.
agree.
It's true.
You can't give the argument to one person and not the other person.
I mean, I would say because Illusion lost 4-0 to us, and Maelstrom's game was like the closest you could possibly be, which is 2-1. So, because that means they tied a map too. So I would put Maelstrom over Illusion.
I mean,
So
that's
we're
one
thinking
like.
Vitamin
what
C,
it was,
Maelstrom, Illusion, Jalapenos right now.
Yes,
Really?
You guys are underrated.
Illusion
That's
Wait,
and
wins
Karma,
over Karma.
and then Karma.
Yeah.
Illusion beat Karma as well.
Yeah, that we have him over Karma. Karma's 4. We're 3. Wait, no. Karma's 5. We're 4.
You're 4.
Illusion's
Illusion would
3.
be 4.
I
Illusion's
would say
four.
Vitamin
Wait,
C 1,
wait, what?
Maelstrom 2, Illusion 3, us 4, Karma 5.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
agree with that.
and then I have Jetpack Cats in 6 just because you said their name, but we can take them
What?
off if we need
Battery.
to.
No.
Undead,
Undead,
Batteries.
DDoS, and Careless.
Yeah,
Undead.
DDoS
no
I
hit
feel
posts?
is really good. I feel like
DDoS.
DDoS is pretty good.
DDoS is
And
on the
Jetpack
next
Cats
one.
had a forfeited game, so I can't put them on a tier list.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I feel like Undead Battery has gotten a lot better, and they're a team that we'll have to watch out for. Because, like I was wrong earlier, it wasn't Pythons who took a map off Vitamin C, it was Batteries who took a map off of
They also
it.
have a sick logo. Well, I don't know who made that, but it's pretty cool. Undead batteries.
I think it's Cav made a lot of them.
Wait, who made ours?
The board.
Bork.
The Bork.
Hey,
Nice. Oh, you guys
third.
also made your own logo. That's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Very
I think
So,
something that
I
stands
think
out for me at least is that, like, kind of what we talked about before, is regardless of the standing, if we end up mentally booming ourselves, we could lose any team.
Oh yeah.
So like even with this kind of like tier list, I think any team is a worthy component, like competitor competition that we need to make sure we take serious and give respect to.
100%.
So
100%.
Right.
And that's one of the cool things about this community. It's like very any given Wednesday. Like we see upsets all the time.
It's like watching the NFL. Like anyone can win, and it's frustrating to
Except
watch
for the
because
Dolphins.
anyone can win.
I
Except
mean,
for
it
the
was
Dolphins
like
and
us
the
against
Cardinals.
Illusion.
Yeah.
Like I remember the votes were like 57 to
It's like
5 or something.
It was like 65-4 or something.
9 to 50.
Yeah.
1,000,000 to 9.
9 to 53. I've watched that clip a lot. It was 9 to
It
53.
was like 6.2 million times.
A big,
The
just
whole
moving
world.
back the Harmony tier, big thing. I think there's like 5 teams who have 5 map wins right now. So outside of those top 5, which is Karma up, I think basically anyone can win at this point.
Agreed.
Make it to the top 8. It's just now's the time they have to start showing it.
Yeah.
Push.
Now's the time to bring it out.
Run to the playoffs.
Yeah, I
How many teams
we'll
make
see it.
Well,
I think that that like 5 to 6 range is, or 5 to 8 range is in really big trouble, you know, amongst the Harmony tier, where it's like one slip up could mean that 3 teams could pass you and put
Yeah.
you in a really sour spot. So I'm keeping a close eye on that in the upcoming weeks, because I mean the playoffs are getting closer by the day. I mean, that's how time works, but it's it's getting scary for anybody who's in that potential upset range. But I think you all, Karma, Illusion, Maelstrom, Vitamin C are all but guaranteed. I think Vitamin C and Maelstrom are guaranteed. I think Illusion are too.
Yeah.
But
We need
do we need
one
two?
win. 'cause
Do we
have
need
a bye
one or
week.
two?
One because we have a bye.
Oh,
week.
you about to say it's
True,
one
true.
after the overtime win. So yeah, one of these.
Overtime is our second to last game.
Yeah,
Our
exactly.
last
final.
game.
Final.
So yeah, no, that's super cool. We have 2 minutes left. If you wanted to do like a quick, like, here's my like favorite team in either tier, like a rival even.
Let me
Can
throw
I
out your
do my
Discord
least
power
favorite
rankings
team?
so
Your
no
Discord.
one else knows.
No,
Okay.
Chim.
I'll throw out some Discord power rankings. Commit 1, Meteors 2, One Last Ride 3, Renovatio 4,
I think one last ride.
Eclipse,
Yours.
Tough Luck, Instalock, Invictus.
I'm sorry.
my list.
After 3, I got mixed up.
Okay.
What's going on?
Commit, Meteors, One Last Ride,
Yeah.
Renovatio. I'm throwing Eclipse. I'm part of the Eclipse train. I throw Tough Luck and Instalock, even though they haven't played a game recently, so we'll see. And then
Mhm.
Invictus. I think
Victus.
that's
What aimbots?
Aimbot Scott.
R.I.P.
Good.
in peace.
Rip.
there you
Rip,
go.
rip,
I'm part of
rip.
the Eclipse train.
I think one last ride should at least be second. I think they're better than me.
I think Meteors. beat-
Wait, what was the score? They played each other, right?
It
What
was
was
like
the
3
score?
to 2. I
Meteors
think.
1 3 to
Meteors-
2 with
Oh,
the
Meteors
reverse
won?
sweep, maybe.
Yeah. It was really,
Ah.
really close, but
Either way, I'm on that Eclipse train.
Yeah, man.
Cryptic Force doesn't even
I
know
thought
who I
that
am,
wasn't a
but
team.
big fan.
Eclipse is a Discord team. Illusion is the Harmony team.
And Invictus
different.
are their brother. It's a whole mess.
Victus and Illusion.
It's a
It's a
whole,
family.
it's a whole big process. But yeah. Very, very similar to my tier list. I put like one team above commit. Won't say who. It's more about team spirit and loving each other, giving hugs at meetups. That's what really counts.
Pizza
Um,
Hut.
Yeah.
I
So
think to speak to that, someone who kind of hasn't interacted with the community before joining Jalapenos, I love the community. To be honest, I think it's really cool that everyone is in for like the common goal of wanting to be better and wanting to improve gameplay, and like that's something that was refreshing to me, is being able to come in and play a game that I very much like and want to not suck at, and we're surrounded by people who are like genuinely trying to be improving consistently. Like I think that's just like really cool as like a community as a whole. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, super cool. Well, we have 20 seconds left until the podcast starts, so we're gonna have to say our goodbyes. It's been awesome having this interview. Thanks to the stream. Thanks to Holy
Come in,
Jalapenos.
everyone.
And
Yeah, thank you for having us.
yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
setting all
that's
this up.
awesome.
It's really
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, so that'll
Sorry
be
we're
it.
so crazy.
No, it was
Yeah.
awesome. This was perfect. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll be signing off. This has been JuCoHi.